What would happen if you could stop worrying so much about what your team was doing all day and instead focus in on what you're supposed to be doing to move your business forward? Sounds like a dream, but right now you're living the nightmare of having to overcoach, over-handhold, and over-check in on your team's work. Let's put an end to that and instead roll out super clear 5-hour work plans, drum beats, and more of my signature tools that drive accountability and self-sufficiency deep into your team. All you have to do is join a Leadership Lab program, and I'll help you turn your team troubles into triumphs. You'll be learning and growing alongside some peers that will become valuable business friends. So why not go beyond this podcast and join us? It could be the smartest thing you do this year. Book a call with me and see what program would best fit you over at the website, stackingyourteam.com/programs. Hello, leader. Any quick Google search will tell you that when members feel empowered, they're more motivated and willing to take on challenges, leading to higher productivity and innovation. Sounds great, right? Well, on today's episode, I'm going to challenge you to think differently about this and stop focusing so much on empowering your team and start leaning hard into engaging them instead. We're going to talk about the difference between empowering and engaging and what it can look like in your small business with your team and why you'd want to make the shift in your leadership style. Oh my gosh, welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Shelli Warren, and I'm so glad that you're taking me along with you as you go about your day. Did you know that the team that got you here may not be the team that will get you there? Okay, you might think that I've lost my mind on this, but hear me out. I've not led you down the wrong path before, have I? You tell me that this podcast always gives you fresh perspectives to consider about leadership and development. So that's what I'm about to do again today. Here we go. For many leaders, being a cheerleader comes naturally. For others, it's a struggle. It's really a personality thing, and it impacts your team in the same way. You see, some team members like to be cheered on, often by someone who notices what they're doing, and they enjoy those extra pumps of energy designed to keep them motivated. On the flip side, some team members dislike the rah, and they'd rather be motivated by someone who practically lays out new opportunities and encouragement in such a way that keeps it all super professional and matter of fact. No gray areas and no jazz hands. So what will you do? Well, the best way to understand what method of encouragement works best for your team is to get to know people individually. Yes, this takes more work. And yes, this means having to switch up your style to match the preferences of each person. But it's doable, especially when you approach it this way. Save the empowerment storytelling, pizza lunches, team photos, and outings for quarterly boosts of motivation. I mean, come on. We all know how the year can fly by, and it can feel like one quarter slides into the next. So breaking up the year into those all-important quarters, taking advantage of the 4 seasons, especially if you live up here in Canada like I do, it can really help you creatively reinforce with your team all that they're doing well and all that the business requires them to keep delivering. Instead, shift into monthly one-to-ones to engage your team members in a more impactful and intimate way by hosting deeper conversations about the impact they're having in their roles. After all, it's those private conversations that can make all the difference in how connected they feel towards you. And it undoubtedly ramps up both of your commitments to each other and the overall success of the business. When I think back on my own career, the most meaningful coaching conversations have been with leaders who took the time to pour into me during one-to-ones. It's actually where I learned how to master this skill set too. I learned quickly that big money thrown at big team activities are super fun and necessary. And for sure, big results deserve big celebrations. And at the same time, I learned that big money celebrations can lose their impact and oomph over time. It's sad, really, how team members can become so entitled with these activities that they become complacent with it all and can even shift into opting out of attending, or they drag their butts to these activities using the swag and the surprise gifts as their motivation to go. Yikes, that's not good. On the other hand, I've had team members tell me that their one-to-ones are the most important thing I can do for them, in addition to openly supporting them during succession planning and promotion conversations. And the clients in our team leader program here in the Leadership Lab tell me the same thing. They feel the exact way about quality one-to-ones with their CEO. You see, mature, driven, high-performing people see the flash for what it really is, a chance to whoop it up and rally the team around the next big thing and the next big challenge to overcome for the business. Super fun, super motivating, and super encouraging. And these moments can really ignite a fresh level of excitement and energy for any team. But they also see that the best motivator, the best help, the best way of getting what they need to continue to achieve big things is the quality time they get talking one-to-one with their leader about how they can accelerate their impact, their confidence, their capabilities, and of course, their career plans. Nothing beats it. It's what high performers want from you. So, why not give it to them? Here's how. Preparing for and walking into any one-to-one starts with knowing the ideal outcome of your time spent with each person. You see, that's the difference between hosting the big empowerment activities designed to pump up the volume of the entire team as compared to those private one-to-one conversations focused 100% on one person. It just feels different by design. Knowing what motivates each person on your team kicks up their connection to you because they instantly feel like you know them. Now, this can take time, and it's so worth it. As you're learning more and more about them, start your one-to-ones off with something like this. Highlight what makes their contribution different from their peers. Talk about their style and strengths, meaning how they show up, how they interact with peers and clients, and where you've watched them diffuse a situation, adding confidence and calmness for the people involved. Next, you'll want to reinforce with them where in the business you count on them, meaning amplify their importance to the overall goals of the business. Everyone wants to know what they do every day really does count, and why, and who it impacts. Then this is where you'll bring them deeper into the conversation by telling them what you need them to continue doing and how they can start to anticipate what the business or clients and customers will want next. Go further by asking them their point of view on what their next best steps would be and what they think the business itself should be looking into. This can look like reviewing their past performance feedback or even more recent feedback that you just shared with them and having them share ideas on how to ramp up those strengths and opportunities to the next level. They may inquire about training, exposure, collaborations, or expanded areas of ownership. It can also look like reviewing testimonials or other types of feedback you've received about the products and services that are directly related to their department or function or profit center. and be ready to see and listen to their reaction to this information and what lights them up. Engaging your team members can also look like asking them to lead a collaboration with peers, either internally or externally, to capitalize on the brain power of many to solve a constraint, improve a process, or learn a new compliance standard for your industry, and then bring it all back to roll out across the business. Here's their chance to lead a significant activity whereby they can leave their stamp on the business, become a lead trainer or the in-house expert, and help others succeed at work. It's these kinds of coaching conversations that engage your team members at a whole new level. You're inviting them to embrace success differently, knowing that how they think about their role and what they do every day will greatly impact how they move throughout the business. When you engage your team members at this level, it demonstrates your trust in them and your willingness to let go of control and instead set them up for success to lead an aspect of the business and take it right on up to the next level. Now, some of you may be thinking that this type of engagement is only for your long-standing, high-performing team members who are already doing big things in their roles. But that's not so. Great leaders know how to engage even the newest of people joining their team. They also know to use engagement as a way of helping an underperforming team member turn their performance around. It's all about the intention, the words and phrases you choose to use, the location and the atmosphere of where you host these conversations, and your ability to set the tone for a two-way conversation that allows your team members to speak openly and ask questions. And as with empowerment, engagement is all about motivation. But engagement promotes within individuals that intrinsic long-term willingness to do the right thing, meet or exceed expectations, and lean into the gratitude of having a workplace and a leader who's committed to their ongoing career development. Empowerment is the start for sure, but once you've got people moving in the right direction with the right level of energy, what will you do to help them maintain it? Yes, that's where learning how to engage your team members as individuals really pays off for them and for you. So as we close out today's episode, here's a few action steps that you can take to further apply what you learned today about not focusing so much on empowering your team, but rather begin leaning hard into engaging them instead. Number 1, save the empowerment activities with all the trimmings for quarterly moments of motivation for the entire team as a collective. Link these activities together with the seasons and get your team members involved to lead aspects of these celebrations and the all hands on deck assemblies. These activities work best when there are a mix of sharing wins and highlighting results, making it normal to see the good stuff and also normal to see the gaps, the misfires, and the fails. You'll also want to roll out upcoming needs of the business and inject some fun designed for your team to get to know one another even more. Number 2, shift your monthly one-to-ones into more meaningful moments to motivate your team as individuals by learning what works best for each of them, and then tapering those conversations to hone in on what makes this person different and valuable. Be transparent about how they can continue to contribute and what it would look like for them to continue to move towards their career goals. And number 3, at your next leadership team meeting, roll out this concept with them. Or better yet, set the expectation that they'll listen to this episode as homework so they come to the leadership team meeting ready to plan how to separate and leverage both empowerment activities for the team and engagement one-to-ones for individuals. I'm sure your team leaders will have some ideas, some insights, and some questions. After all, they're going to be doing both. You know, leadership can be exciting, challenging, and lonely at times. So don't go it alone. Let me help you create the team and the leadership structure that you've been creating. So until next time, remember, if you have a dream, you need a team. So let's get stacking yours today.